After Anakin Skywalker's mother died in his arms in the Tusken Raider camp, he would immediately retaliate by murdering every single Tusken, even the women and children. This horrific act would be the first step in his transformation and his fall to the dark side of the Force. With the loss of his mother and the fact that he blamed himself because he couldn't save her, Anakin would act even further when he would eventually have visions of his own wife dying in childbirth. Anakin Skywalker's thoughts after killing the Tusken Raiders can be seen in detail in the novelization of Attack of the Clones. As Anakin slipped through the encampment, moving from hut to hut, he worked his way toward the hut he felt held his mother. Anakin then drew and ignited his lightsaber and crouched low, shielding the glow as much as he could in order to stay hidden. He paused to see if any Tuskens were inside, and then crawled through. His legs immediately fell beneath him as he saw his mother tied facing against a rack to the other side of the tent. Her body was covered in blood and bruises, showcasing the weeks of beatings. Anakin quickly cut her free and gently lowered her down into his arms. He could feel her in the Force, but she was a thin sensation, barely holding on to her life. Anakin tried to tell her to lie still and save her strength, but the words simply wouldn't come out of his mouth. Shmi tried to tell her son she loved him, but then she went very still, and Anakin saw the light leave her eyes. Anakin could hardly draw his breath. He was in complete disbelief, and just sat and rocked her there for a long time. He repeatedly thought to himself that she couldn't be gone. She just couldn't. Anakin didn't know what to do. He sat motionless, staring at his dead mother. He then replayed all the recent events of his life in his head, wondering what he might have done differently to keep his mother alive. He finally realized he should have never left her in the first place, and he should have never let Qui-Gon Jinn take him away from Tatooine without bringing his mother along as well. At that time, the only purpose that Anakin could fathom was that of the rage building within him. The Jedi Padawan rose to his feet and took up his lightsaber. In a flash of killing light, Anakin took down the two Tusken guards rushing him. Amidst this slaughter of the Sand People, Anakin heard the voice of Qui-Gon Jinn, asking him to restrain himself and deny the rage. Unfortunately, he was too full of pain and anger to recognize the voice of the Jedi Master who had discovered him years ago. And then it was over, and suddenly Anakin Skywalker stood among the ruins of the encampment, dozens and dozens of dead Tusken Raiders all about him, and only a single hut standing. Back at the Lars homestead, Padme found Anakin standing at a workbench, working on a part from the speeder bike. He was exaggerating every movement and obviously frustrated and distracted from the task at hand. Anakin was on the verge of collapse. Anakin told Padme he should have been out with Obi-Wan, hunting the assassins, and if he had, he would have gotten here in time, and his mother would still be alive. Anakin's body seemed to shrink and slump forward. He confessed to Padme that he killed the entire Tusken camp who tortured his mother. He told her that only the men were the fighters and the Tuskens, but he killed them all, the women and children too. He admitted to Padme he couldn't control himself, and that he didn't want to hate them, as there is no place for hatred, but he also couldn't forgive them for taking his mother away from him. Anakin broke down in sobs, and Padme was there to hold him and tell him that everything would be alright. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and learned something new, feel free to like and subscribe. And remember, the Force will be with you always.